Okay, so let's get started on look numero dos. I'm gonna start off, I already went ahead and I took care of my brows before I got started because Lord knows that takes quite a while, and I already have a tutorial on that, so I figured you probably don't want to watch me do my brows because it takes forever and it's just, I skip a step. So anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started with priming the eyes with a little bit of concealer. I'm using my Tarte Shape Tape, absolute favorite concealer of the moment. And I'm just going to be blending it out using my finger. This is just going to give me a nice, clean canvas to work with because I have pretty pigmented lids. Sometimes the colors can get a little bit lost if I don't put, a base that's going to take care of that to begin with. So for this particular look, I do plan on doing a little bit more of a smoky eye. So I'm going to start off with just a nice base on the eyes. I'm using my large fluff brush. This one is the E50 from Sigma. And I'm applying the shade Chaser onto the lids just to give me a nice even canvas and to set the eyes with the concealer that I just applied. Next, I'm going to move over to Sauced for my transition, and I'm simply going to be applying that onto the crease using my tapered blending brush. This one is from Sigma, it is their E40, and just applying that onto the crease, going back and forth in windshield wiping motions, and combining the windshield wiping motions with circular motions as well. Next, I'm going to grab Heat Devil from the palette with my tapered blending brush from Sigma. This one is an E35. And I'm going to concentrate this along the crease. So just taking that and running it back and forth along the crease. I'm making sure not to go up too high though, because I don't want this to, take over the actual transition shade that sits here above the crease. So I'm trying to keep that underneath it as much as I can. And what I like to do is I like to set the color down by going back and forth, and then when I'm ready to start blending upward into the other shades, that's when I will start doing the windshield and circular motions together. But before I just do this, and then when I'm ready, I start doing this. I swear, all this blending is going to give me carpal tunnel. Sooner or later, I just know it. So next, I'm going to grab En Fuego from the palette. This one is honestly my least favorite, just because I feel it's like the most chalky, I guess you could say, but I still like to use it. So I'm going to put this, I'm using my blending brush. This one is the Sigma E25. And I'm just going to be placing that right underneath the crease shade. But I'm mainly concentrating most of it on the outer V. The thing that I like about all these shadows though is that they're extremely easy to blend. Alright, and now I'm going to be placing ashes right onto the lid using my eye shading brush. This one is the Sigma E55. Applying that onto the mobile lid area. All right, and then going back with my E25, which is the one that I was previously using without adding any additional product. I'm just going to run that back and forth along the crease to blend in between the lid and the crease. Okay, now I'm going to take Ember with my finger and apply that onto the entire mobile lid area on top of ashes. And then of course going back with my E25 and blending along the crease. You can also do this with a wet brush in order to get a really good metallic color payoff. Otherwise, if you use a dry brush, it just doesn't work as well, which it's very unfortunate because the shade is so beautiful. Okay. So now, what am I going to do? I'm going to take the gel liner and just apply some of that onto the lash line. So I'm not going to do a wing line. I'm just doing a little smudging here on top of the lash line. And this one is the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Swerve. Before going in with another brush, this one is my short shader from Sigma. It is my E20, and just buffing that out a little bit. All right. And for this particular look, I haven't been wearing lashes. I haven't worn lashes in a really long time, but I think I am going to be applying lashes for this look. For this, I'm going to be using the Eyelure lashes. These are the 117s, I believe. Usually I don't like to wear lashes just because they're kind of a pain. But sometimes I feel like certain looks call for a false lash. Okay, so now that those are on, I'm just going to apply a little bit of mascara to my real lashes in order to combine them. Okay, so now moving on to the face before going back and then finishing off the eyes. I'm going to color correct the under eye area using my Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. I like this corrector because sometimes I'll try other correctors and the Tarte Shape Tape, like the concealer by itself, is kind of a drying formula. I think that it's supposed to be that way in order to prevent it from creasing, so it's not supposed to be very moisturizing. But I find that because it is that way, if I don't use like a moisturizing color corrector, or if I don't moisturize really well underneath the eye before applying it, then it just looks like really dry under the eye throughout the day. And so I like the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector because it is like moisturizing. It has like that tacky consistency that's going to keep the under eye area pretty moist. And it's not going to allow the Tarte Shape Tape to look or feel dry. Okay, now moving on to foundation. For this particular look, I'm going to be using my NARS All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation. I am currently using the shade Barcelona. Okay, and then of course, concealer. Just blending it out using my damp beauty blender. It's literally the only way I will blend out anything underneath my eye. Okay, and then of course I have to set my under eye area using my RCMA No Color Loose Powder. This is such an amazing setting powder. I cannot express it enough. Like, it's so amazing. It sets your under eye area or any like part of your face really without adding any kind of additional color. Like, if you can see, it goes on really white, but then just me simply dabbing and blending it out and letting it kind of like combine with my concealer, it's like gone. The whole white cast under the eye is gone. You don't get any flashback with this. It's so inexpensive. Like, just, oh, I love this stuff. And of course, I'm going to add some of it to my laugh lines to prevent any kind of creasing. Although I typically don't crease with this particular foundation, I'm still going to do it anyway. So now that I'm done setting the under eye area, I can go back and finish off the eyes. I'm going to go back with my black gel liner and apply that onto the waterline in order to make this look very intense. And then I'm going to use my, dropping everything. I'm going to use my flat definer brush from Sigma. I'm going to grab the shade En Fuego and apply that right to the lash line. Right there. And then of course, if I were to just leave it like that, like to me, it just wouldn't look right. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my pencil brush. This one is the Sigma E30. Grab Sauced, which was my transition shade from up top, and blend all that out underneath the eye. That way it looks like a nice gradient like it does up top. Alright, and now I'm going to finish it off with some mascara on the bottom lashes. Now moving on to the face, I'm going to bronze it up just a tad with my Hoola bronzer. As you can tell, one of my favorites. I love using this stuff. Applying that onto the hollows of my cheek and then just swirling the brush upward a little bit. I don't want it to be like a really harsh contour, but I definitely want my cheeks to look just a tad bit chiseled. Oh, and the brush that I was using for contour, this is the brush that I will always use until I find something better. This one is the Luxie 512 small contouring brush. I just feel like it really gets in there into the hollows and allows me to like buff it all out. I don't know, I've always used it and it's always worked out for me. For blush, I'm going to be using Milani's Luminoso, and I'm going to be applying it using my Sigma Duo Fiber brush onto the apples and then just working my way back. I love this brush for blush because I feel like it doesn't deposit a whole lot of product onto the face. Therefore, it makes it really easy to build up instead of your brush depositing a ton of blush onto the cheeks and then making it really difficult to try to tone it down. It's just easier. For highlight today, I'm going to be using my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder. This one is in the shade Luminous Light. I cannot get enough of this, especially on days where I just want my glow to really pop, but not pop to the point where it's like too glittery and too in your face. This one gives you just such a nice, like, you know, soft glow. That's the word I'm looking for. Just a really lovely soft glow without going too overboard. You know what I mean? Like, look at that. And it's not glittery whatsoever, so if you go out into the sun, it's not going to show like you sparkling like Edward Cullen. It's really just going to show a really lovely glow. This one is the tapered highlighter brush from Sigma. It is the F35. Cupid's bow and some to my chin. And then another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this ambient powder and apply it here. Now for the lips, I'm going to be applying Lolita from Kat Von D. I just feel like it matches or it suits the eyes. So that's why I'm going with that one. All right, and then I'm going to finish everything off using my Milani Make It Last Setting Spray. How much do you need, really? A lot. And that completes the look.